Undoing the themes and motifs in the woman warrior. Themes is a woman's role in Chinese society. Have you noticed how there are no men in this novel? Each chapter talks about a woman who has influenced Kingston's life, and in most cases goes on to talk about how this woman survives and relates to the male-dominated Chinese society. However, it is not necessarily the men themselves who are oppressive, but it is the powerful tradition of male domination that these women adhere to and live by. Of course, there are stories of strong women like Fa Mulan, but there are stories of how women are disappointments like No-Name Woman, Kingston's aunt. She has heard stories all her life of Chinese babies left to die because they were not boys. She thrives on the thoughts of a powerful woman. The second theme is silence versus voice. The theme of silence begins with Brave Orchid's words. "You must not tell anyone," as she tells Kingston the story of her dead aunt. This is ironic because Kingston wrote this story in a published book. It is also paradoxical because much of what Kingston learned from her mother is based on telling, letting Chinese traditions be heard, and voicing the lives of the past. The Chinese community as a whole is very silent, and it is often their children who break that silence. This novel is about Kingston finding her voice, as she is naturally quiet. She found it through her writing. The third and final theme is growing up as a Chinese American. Kingston is constantly battling her old Chinese traditions that she is taught by her mother in the way of the Americans that she sees and experiences in the country that she lives in. She fights her typical Chinese traits, such as a loud voice that is not considered very feminine in America. Kingston knows that she is different from her American classmates, but also from her family. So where does she fit? This is her attempt to sort out who she is from what is Chinese, what traits are strictly of her family, and what is real versus what is fake. There's also three motifs. The first one is ghosts. This is the most frequently occurring motif in this novel. The ghosts are both living and dead. Kingston can no longer tell what is real and what is not. The brave orchid, who is deeply rooted in her culture, anyone who is not Chinese is a ghost. To Americans, or even Chinese Americans, it is often the Chinese who are ghosts. The second is the warrior. The warrior motif is extremely important. Fa Mulan, a warrior, becomes the standard by which Kingston measures herself. We see Brave Orchid as a warrior as well. Much of this novel is about trying to find a way to fight back. Kingston does this through her writing. Talk story is the third motif. There is at least one talk story in every chapter, most often told by Brave Orchid, but one by Kingston herself. These are told in order to teach lessons about life or Chinese customs, or to enforce certain beliefs. They are both stifling and liberating at the same time. It is a symbol of reconciliation, and Kingston tells a talk story that is both her own and her mother's.
Symbolism was seen several times in the book. Some examples of these would be the following. Birds. In White Tigers, the bird symbolizes rising above social norms as Fa Mulan climbs a mountain to meet her mentors, and she's guided there by a bird. In the Shaman chapter, a bird symbolizes good luck, and because it's painted on the side of the boat that Kingston's mother takes to get to Canton. The boat that leaves directly after her is attacked by pirates. The bird does not always symbolize the positive, however. In the story of her fourth uncle, the bird symbolizes death because her uncle was killed by communists while trying to capture birds to eat. The second symbol would be mountains. The mountains are places of refuge, isolation, safety, fortune, and possibility in the book. In White Tigers, Fa Mulan goes to the mountain to learn martial arts and wisdom. In Shaman, the villagers take refuge in the mountains to escape Japanese bombing in China. The third symbol would be bound feet. Bound feet was not an abundant symbol in the book because the custom is outdated in Kingston's time, but they symbolize the restrictions put on women, especially Asian women in America.
Go.
The last symbol will be circles. The circle represents the family, community, and law. The Chinese family, which is a community of kin, is like a circle because the children look after the elders when they get old, and then when they die, their souls watch over their children. So it's an ongoing process. The circle is closed because they shut off everyone outside the circle.
I chose 3 quotes from the Woman Warrior that I felt were important and helped to explain Kingston's life. The first quote is, "You must not tell anyone," my mother said, "when I'm about to tell you. In China, your father had a sister who killed herself. She jumped in the family well. You say that your father has all brothers because it is as if she had never been born." This first quote is discussing Kingston's life and the struggles that she will face. It's also talking about the traditions of her culture and her family. In this first quote, Kingston's mother is telling her about Kingston's aunt who wasn't accepted into the culture because of sin she had committed. This is a story that Kingston must never share, yet it is shared in her memoir. This also talks about the struggles she will face as a Chinese woman and learning what she should and shouldn't do in her culture. The second quote is, "To make my walking life American normal, I turn on the lights before anything untoward makes an appearance. I push the deformed into my dreams, which are in Chinese, the language of impossible stories. Before we can leave our parents, they stuff our heads with suitcases, which they jam packed with homemade underwear." The second quote is from the story Shaman. Kingston is dealing with the American culture and being a Chinese woman. This quote further elaborates on Kingston's struggles in coming to America. She remembers all the Chinese stories that her mother has told her and feels weighed down by them in her dreams. She is living in a new country but feels tied to her own roots and wonders what she should do about the stories that she remembers. The last quote is, "Be careful what you say, it comes true. It comes true. I had to leave home in order to see the world logically. Logic, the new way of seeing. I learned to think that mysteries are for explanation. I enjoy the simplicity. Concrete pours out of my mouth to cover the floor, the freeways and sidewalks. Give me plastics, periodical tables, TV dinners with vegetables, no more complex than peas, mixed with diced carrots. Sun floodlights in the dark corners, no ghosts." This last quote is from a song for a barbarian repipe. Kingston did not understand what was real till she left home. She had to learn about the new culture all on her own. She misses her own Chinese culture, but is happy for the new place she has found.